Hi, I'm Arya. I work at NLnet Labs, and I have the great pleasure today of introducing you to Cascade, our new DNSX signer. So first of all, I'm very new to the DNS world. I've been here, I don't know, like it's been a year, and this is my first DNS conference. And I've gotten to know a lot of you already, but I thought I'd do a proper introduction first. Okay, hi, I'm Arya. There's not much. It's hard to sort of, put my essence into a few words. But I think the main thing is that I like programming, and I like it a lot. Um, and I'm the sort of person who's too busy compiling kernels to get out of the house. Um, and I'll leave the logos and the flags for you to recognize. But I joined NLnet Labs just about a year ago after finishing my bachelor's. And I've been working on Rust-based DNS software, which we have a growing collection of, and which some of you may have already heard of. It's been really fun working on sort of open source infrastructure, open source code for like critical internet infrastructure. I find that work really valuable. So speaking of critical internet infrastructure, I'll sort of quickly go through what we're doing today. First, I'll explain sort of why Cascade exists. Um, I'll go through the requirements that we had when we designed Cascade. I'll talk about sort of how we try to meet those requirements through the actual architecture and the implementation. And then we'll have the main event, I assume the part that everybody's excited for, the demo. And then I'll sort of talk about what's next for this software. So, dun, 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 news at NLnet Labs. We really like Rust. It's been fantastic. We have a lot of projects in Rust, both inside DNS and outside DNS. And over 2024, thanks to the Sovereign Tech Agency, we were able to really expand our Rust-based DNS library called Domain. At this point, we can really start writing sophisticated DNS applications with it, and that's been really exciting. Now, that sort of brings me on to Cascade, a DNSSEC signer, when NLnet Labs has OpenDNSSEC, a DNSSEC signer. We were part of the original team that has developed it, and we've been maintaining it for over 15 years now. And it's been amazing to see how many people have been able to make use of this. We're incredibly grateful to be able to contribute to the DNS community in this way. But now we're hearing back from that community, from these operators, that OpenDNSSEC isn't really meeting their needs anymore. For example, we talked about the zone signing pipeline just in the prior presentation. And so we sort of set out to find out what's going on, what do we need to do. And so we first interviewed these operators. So this is sort of a rundown of what we learned. Operators can't afford to trust DNSSEC signers anymore. Signers can be uncommunicative, sometimes they'll do the wrong thing, and DNS is critical internet infrastructure. People rely on this stuff. And so, operators are forced to sort of mitigate risk as best as they can. That involves things like doing containerization, high availability setups, multi-signer things, and all of these, well, the current DNSSEC software we have isn't really able to meet those needs properly, and so everything just it just doubles the hassle, right? And at the end of the day, in every operator's team, you end up with like one or two people who know how everything works, and the entire infrastructure relies on them. If you don't have them, the entire thing is going to fall apart. And that's sort of the most worrying thing. Things feel very brittle right now. So that's when we realized we need something new. OpenDNSSEC isn't able to cut it anymore. We need something that can really address this need. And that's why I'm able to introduce Cascade to you today. Okay, Cascade is a purpose-built DNSSEC signer, just like OpenDNSSEC before it. It's written in Rust, and it's built, we're trying to carry forward OpenDNSSEC's benefits while tailoring everything to fit what operators need today. That's our main goal. So what exactly does today mean for Cascade? We've released an alpha version, which you can find online. We've talked about it plenty. If you can also install it, there's documentation and stuff. We will have a production-ready release in the first half of 2026. We also want to spend that time hearing more from everybody and trying to gather more opinions on, how can we make this serve you better. And yeah, that's our plan. Meanwhile, regarding OpenDNSSEC, we've published an end-of-life plan on the announcement mailing list and stuff. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but if you have any questions, feel free to read that plan and reach out to us. So we have this sort of basic idea of what Cascade needs to serve. And so we set about trying to design something that would be able to satisfy that. Yeah. Our most important goal was that we want to listen to the users, right? We could build something that we find fun, but that's not really serving the community at large. And so that really brings me back to this slide. I'm going to go over this again. So signers are uncommunicative. You can't trust them to do the right thing. Daily routines are a hassle, and things could fall apart at any time. Now, because I'm also just new to the DNS world, I don't really find myself, I wasn't able to empathize with these operators. I'm not in that position. Most of the software I use is kind of fine. Most of my problems are because I compile my kernels wrong. I was having a hard time sort of getting in the operator's shoes. And then I thought about it for a while, and eventually an answer came to me. It wasn't the answer I wanted necessarily, because I went through a really bad breakup, and I realized partners are uncommunicative. You can't trust them to do the right thing. Even daily routines can be a hassle, and things can fall apart at any time. And I realized this feels like a bad relationship all over again. And I didn't want that. But now I was able to place myself in operator's shoes. I understood what was going on. And with that, let's say, therapy, we were able to come up with sort of more concrete requirements for what Cascade has to do, to try to satisfy these problems. So our main goal is to build something you can trust. And that doesn't mean that you are expected to trust it off the bat, because nobody trusts DNSSEC signers anymore. But it's something where we're able to show you that we're working properly, right? We want to be able to show you that you will be able to trust us, but you don't have to. So Cascade communicates how it's doing, right? It doesn't assume your feelings. It's open to your needs, and it helps you with chores. So that means that our first priority was making this thing really transparent. We want to be able to show you what's happening at a glance. The second most important thing was being able to review zones. Now, Libor just talked about the zone signing pipeline and having these validation steps. That was essential to us. We know a lot of people want that. And those were the two most important things for us. But there were a bunch of secondary requirements. We want to make sure that we can help support multi-signer and high availability setups. We hear about those a lot. We wanted to make sure this thing is really easy to interact with, right? We're not just going to have one UI. There's different people who want to use this in different ways. Like OpenDNSSEC, we try to bring good defaults. And it needs to be really flexible because people use this in all sorts of workflows. So I'm going to quickly rush through this because we have a demo to do. But we've built, a DNSSEC signer, a key manager, which is the heaviest stuff here. We've built an architecture around the signing pipeline exactly like in Libor's presentation, and comprehensive status output, which we'll get to see in a moment. This is sort of what the architecture looks like. It's part of that overall zone signing pipeline where you receive zones at one end and you throw zones out at the other, signed zones. And we have sort of four main components for loading, key management, signing, and actually returning your zones. And we have those review scripts. We have steps where you can insert whatever scripts you want to say, is this zone working? Before it's signed, after it's signed, and if something goes wrong, Cascade will fail. It will stop things from happening. Now, it's time for the fun stuff. First of all, show of hands, who's excited for this? Ooh. Speaking of which, who's excited to see this go horribly wrong? No. Yeah. Okay, good. Um, and can we switch to the? Okay. I have no idea what's going to show up here. Fantastic. I'm going to put this down for a quick second.
Maybe point at you. Point to Mike at yourself.
Oh yeah. 1 second. That one? That one. Sweet. Okay. I have a very nice demo script that is going to do all the work for me. Yes, I can. I can make it larger. Is this one? I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's just resetting my environment because we know how demos go. So first of all, Cascade comes as a system service, so you can just start it. I'm also going to give a quick shout out to KMIP to PKCS11. So PKCS11 is this HSM protocol thing, right? In order to use it, you have to load a library into your process. If there's something wrong with that library, your process is going to crash. So we isolate this in a separate service, and that's called KMIP to PKCS11. I'm just going to start up our services. Okay, and we can just see that things seem fine. Okay, I'm going to quickly show you the configuration file if I can. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. I should just rely on autocomplete, right? Okay, anyways. So for those of you who are familiar with OpenDNSSEC, our configuration here is in DOML. It's a little bit nicer. Yeah, good. And it's pretty much just all of the settings you're seeing here are sort of primarily defaults, but it's a very readable thing. We provide a lot of documentation on how to use this thing. Yeah. So now I'm just going to have a quick look at the HSM, which I'm using, which is soft HSM. You can use hopefully any other HSM. We've tested quite a few, but there's bound to be bugs. Let's skip through that. So first of all, we need to add an HSM to Cascade to tell it how to use this thing. I'm going to have a quick look. At the zone I want to serve. So quick note. This is cascade.nlnetlabs.nl. You can visit it. It is online, and we are going to mess with it right now. So yeah, so it's a very simple zone file. We just have 4 records right now. Pretty simple. Nothing much going on here. Now, in order to use Cascade, you need to configure a policy, and the policy, you can apply a policy to a set of zones, and that's the settings it's going to use to actually control how those zones are signed and stuff. Okay, cat was a bad choice, but it allows you to set things like where to XFR to, where to how your key management settings, how your zone is going to be signed. Again, simple DOML file. First of all, we're going to add this zone to Cascade. There's a lot of settings here because we're actually going to migrate the zone from an existing. So Cascade.nlnetlabs exists right now. It's already signed, and now we can actually migrate the zone into Cascade by passing in the HSM keys to use, and this should go smoothly. Okay. Added zone cascade.nlnetlabs.nl. Seems happy. We can even look at the log and tells us, ooh, there was an error. Our unsigned zone was rejected. Why would that be? And that's because I do have an answer. This is not unexpected. Everything is okay. And it's because I had set validation scripts. So we can actually quickly peek at our validation script, I think. Yes. So I have a validation script. Now, again, Libor mentioned in the previous presentation that we can do, that you might want to query from the signer to see what records are there. So we're just using dig. And if this script fails, it's just going to stop validation. So in this case, we actually asked it to validate for a quad A record, which was commented out in the zone file, which is not good. Yeah. So actually, now we get a little peek at what zone status in Cascade looks like. Okay, so you can see that we've loaded a version, right? It tells you when it's loaded, how much it loaded, how it loaded it. But then it tells us that, oh, our unsigned zone was rejected. So we can quickly fix this with Vim. Vim, please. Good. Seems good. I'm going to hit X. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Just give me a second. So first of all, I'm going to tell it to reload the zone. Okay. We're going to have a quick look at the status. I've made a mistake. There was a bug. Don't worry. I did get bitten. I'm just don't know. Okay. And so we fixed the zone file, we reloaded it, and now we can see zone status has worked. It'll tell you that we received approval to sign the zone. It was signed. It tells you exactly how it was signed. It even passed through a post-signing validation script, and then it's published it. Now, I was planning to have time to like crowdsource a text record, but we've sort of run out of time because won some questions. But that's sort of a very quick run through how Cascade works. Can we switch back to the presentation, please? Okay, cool. Yeah. Our main goal is to serve the operators. We really want to hear from you. Do you have opinions on what the zone status looks like? Have you tried running it yourself and are you running into issues? Just come talk to us. We want to build the thing that we want to build the best thing that we can for you. And again, expect a production-ready release in the first half of 2026. But before I end, I just want to mention that again, NLnet Labs would like some funding, and we love doing this stuff, and it's easier to do our work if we're being funded properly. And again, just reach out to us. But that's sort of it. Now we're going to have time to talk after this. This is the last presentation. But any quick questions?
My name is Roy Arends. I work for ICANN. I used to work for NLnet. When I was at NLnet, I started Open DNSSEC together with NLnet Labs and Sweden. Patrick Wallström is here. He was there as well. Yeah. I just want to say I approve of this message. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
With regards to funding, NLnet used to fund Open DNSSEC when it started. Oliver Tweedy, just give a presentation about the DNS fund.
Have a look at it. To NLnet.
Perfect. Yeah. Question, sorry.
Yeah.
Quick question. Sure. Are you going to provide scripts, material, in order to seamlessly go over from OpenDNSSEC version 2 and the soft HSM version 2 to Cascade and its associated
Yes, we will be providing guides. If we're able to, we'll provide a single script, but these things can be messy, and we might not want to just hit this one script. But yes, we plan to provide those sorts of migration guides. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Great presentation. Good demo. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, it's Tamás PCH.
Hi.
So great presentation, thank you. Many great things you said. So I really like the zone validation part, for example. One or two questions. So systemd is like a mandatory component, or that is something which can be used like
it's
an
just
optional?
It might be the easiest way to use Cascade right now, but you can absolutely run it yourself. There's a bunch of settings in the configuration for sort of telling Cascade, how you want to use it. Do you want it to write a log file somewhere? Do you want to write, those sorts of things? So yeah, you can run it with or without systemd, absolutely.
For the key storage, if you want to like store like traditionally like soft signing, like is files also possible,
Yes, absolutely.
or only soft HSM?
Files are absolutely possible.
Okay.
Soft HSM is just for the demonstration you can use. We just want to show
Okay,
that you
that
can
is
use
awesome.
others.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm speaking on behalf of Andreas Schwarz from Hetzner DNSOP, and he had a question in the chat, which is on the HA signer setups, what's the approach on zone resigning, ZSK rollover for things like fetching the zone data and preventing race conditions from multiple signers?
Oh, that's a great question. Thanks. So high availability is complicated, as anybody who's trying to use it knows. And we sort of want to, we looked into this and we realized that we don't have a good enough set of requirements. So again, please come talk to us if you have high availability, multi-signer containerization requirements. Help us understand exactly what you need, because designing things that will work seamlessly in those situations is really hard.
Thanks for a presentation. I really like it. I like the validation.
Thanks.
And you mentioned that the software will be very noisy when it logs, if so we know everything that happens. That's good. I just wanted to like a comment. For me, I'm an old OpenDNSSEC guy. I love it. It works. It just works.
Yeah.
But when we had a problem, it was never the signing. It was always that we did something wrong when enforcing with the enforcer part.
Yeah.
And things that I missed is that I can really show up and tell me which key was used, when was it published, when was it start for signing, when was it revoked.
I have
That's a missing thing in
just the thing
OpenDNS.
for you. Can you switch to the demo really quick? Okay. So we have zone status here, right, which does not give you the information you're asking for. However, we also have a detailed option, and this gives you a bunch of DNSSEC info. It's not everything yet, but this is the sort of, we want to be able to expose, what operators need to know at that scale. So yeah, come talk to us after as well. I want to write down some of what you're saying, but those are something, it's on our mind. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, cool.
Thanks, Arya.